Hello and welcome back to the last episode of Season 2 of Making It. My name is Mirabelle and I sit down to chat with creatives about all things creativity, entrepreneurship, mental health, and just life in general. Today's special guest is someone who I've very quickly become really good friends with, and unsurprisingly, because of Twitch. Heymun is a musician, a singer-songwriter, a producer, a synth goblin, or synth Furby as she likes to call herself. She has a background in film, and she transitioned into doing music full-time a few years ago, and since then she's been working with a bunch of amazing brands like Spitfire Audio, Arteria, Teenage Engineering, and a lot more. And she does beta testing, she composes, and she makes short cinematic videos, merging her film background, I would say, and her music side to showcase all of the instruments. So Heymun and I often chat about the ups and downs of our creative lives and the feelings of burnout or the feelings of, not being good enough or wanting to do more and then not having the capacity to do so. And so we get into a lot of that stuff in this episode. We talk a lot about burnout and we talk about figuring out algorithms and then just giving up on figuring out algorithms, social media things, and our Twitch communities and YouTube and just everything that goes on behind the scenes. We get into all of that in this episode. If you've listened to every single episode up until this point, you're amazing. And if this is the first and the only one you've ever heard, then you're the worst. Sorry, I'm kidding. You're also amazing, and I really, really appreciate anybody for just taking time out of their day to listen to these episodes, to listen to this podcast, and I really hope that it's been interesting for you and that you want to listen to more, because Season 3 is coming, probably in a few months, but it's coming, and in the meantime, there will be short clips of maybe future guests, past guests. There will be clips that I will be posting. So stay tuned. Rate and review the podcast if you can. That'd be very nice. There's a YouTube version where you can see our faces if you'd like. Leave a comment there. Say hello. If you want to get involved with the podcast, ask questions for upcoming guests, you can join my Patreon. And to wrap up this little ad kind of segment, links to Heymun, myself, and the podcast are all in the description, and I hope you enjoy this episode. I can't start this like other podcasts.
I know, maybe that's our start. We can't start this as the usual podcast. We just can't. So now we're starting by not starting.
Yeah. Okay. For the people who are listening who don't know you, who are you?
Hello, everyone. I am Heymun. On Twitch, I'm Heymun Music, and I tell our ambient shelter, I title the Twitch stream Ambient Shelter, often that I'm just a synth Furby who sings original songs through my modular synthesizers. And clearly, if you're watching the YouTube version of this, it looks like I have a serious problem with synthesizers, and I do.
I want all of your synths. I want to play with everything that you've got, every piece of gear in your studio so badly, but I can't.
You're
so
welcome. I know. You're welcome anytime, but I don't know. We whenever we're on our Discord, co-working and stuff, it doesn't feel like we're an ocean apart.
Yeah.
But right? It doesn't feel like it, but yeah. We are.
I know your time zone now so well. When I was recording this with Hazy, back in season 1, for those of you who are listening who haven't listened to that episode, you should go do that. But she's also in Australia. You two are both in Australia. And I remember trying to coordinate our times and being like, okay, I'll message you at the time that I think is correct. And then we also made it flexible a little bit. We like rescheduled things so that we could have extra time in case we missed like the time zone change. Struggle.
Yeah, but now I think the minute I wake up, I just message you.
Love it. Yeah.
Nerves, I can't sleep. And I'll just message you anyway.
Yeah, nowadays I'm like, whenever it's like 3 p.m., 4 p.m., I await a Heymun message.
Aww.
I don't know what I'm going to do if that stops somehow for some reason.
I know. For me, it's like, as soon as I wake up, I'm like, hey, Marbs, what are you doing right now? And then we'll start sending each other pictures.
Oh my goodness. Love it.
Thank you so much. I love living vicariously like through your beautiful pictures. It looks like paradise where you live.
I so like beautiful. How like we try really hard to not be in our studios all day. Sometimes we realize that we're here all day, every day. And, you know, it's nice to get out and force ourselves to do something else.
I think so. It's healthy. It's healthy to even talk about, I guess, the burnout side of what we do. You know what I mean? It wasn't until I met you and maybe just started talking to you more often this year, just being able to say like, oh, is it weird that I'm feeling tired? Is it weird that I still want to do so much and I'm not resting? It's the weekend. And, you know, outside of streaming, there's so much I still need to do. Mm-hmm. But why is there so little time in a day? And I don't even know. Yeah.
Oh, I am the same. We just don't stop. But because we have so much fun doing everything that we're doing, it gets to a certain point, though, where I think, well, why do you think that burnout happens? Because you love what you do. Why do you think that burnout happens for you?
I think because I'm not aware that, you know, my body is not like keeping up with my brain. It's like I feel the wear and tear of the burnout more than the mental burnout. For example, like there's one part of my jaw that was so swollen and I couldn't even chew on one side. Or if like my eyes twitching nonstop, like it just wouldn't stop twitching, right? Because I'm always on the phone, I'm always on the computer. And people would tell me like, your body is literally telling you to stop, like stop picking up your phone. Stop being in the studio. Have you had sunlight, you know, this last couple of years and
years.
And so years. And I don't know when to stop until my body's like, you cannot chew on this side of your face. Your eyes twitching nonstop. Then I'm forced. We're human and rest is so important. It truly is probably the biggest ingredient in being able to be creative. But it's the one thing I feel like we starve ourselves off the most or feel guilty of the most because time is so limited. Yeah. So it's kind of like a conflicting kind of concept where it's like you need to rest so you can be more creative and you can do more. But time is also so limited in a day. So there's a lot of stress and pressure of, am I using my time wisely? And I think that's the bad seed in all of this, where you keep questioning, like, if I rest, I could be using this time to do more. Then I can rest later. But when do we ever rest?
Yeah.
You know, even when I'm sleeping.
Yeah, like, the wheels are turning.
I wake up. Yeah.
We should learn how to lucid dream so that we could just continue working while we're dreaming, and then we can wake up and do the thing.
just the other day when I was messaging you, I was like, Merbs, is cloning available yet? Like, I need an extra me in the studio. You need an extra you. So we both can actually go longboarding, grab a boba. We can actually talk more in Discord. But we joke that our clones will also take over, where it's like, work. What are you chatting? 2 people got to work at the same time.
You know, it's bad when you skip washroom breaks and you're like, okay, I'm just going to finish this one thing real quick. And that happens to me sometimes. And I forget that I had to go to the washroom.
Yeah.
And then I finish focusing on that task. And then I'm like, oh,
yeah.
One, I'm hungry, and I also need to use the washroom, and like, yeah.
Yes, I can relate to the bladder being forgotten.
Does that happen to you ever on stream?
Always. Yeah. My chat have to tell me like, so I'll do this thing where like, everyone, I needed to pee 1 song ago. And then now I'm going to bring in my stand-in Brenda, my BRB screen. And then someone would just be like, let her go, let her go, let her go. Because if somebody just asks me a question or talk about Brenda, I won't go. So they're like, go, 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 go. Because they know so much that like when I'm in the stream zone, I just don't let go. I'm just like, what do you need? What does everyone need? Are you all cozy? Get into your beanbag. Story time's happening. Music time. Do you want some beats today? Like I'm the adrenaline of being in the stream is so all encompassing. What is that word? Where you're just so present and your body. It's only after stream that I realized like, oh, my headphones are pretty tight today. And these are the things that I guess people don't know, right? Like unless we tell them that our body starts to be human again after the stream, where we're like, oh,
yeah,
did I roll on the floor or something during this stream? Why does my shoulder feel so tense?
Yeah, there's one day that my wrist just started hurting while I was playing guitar. And I was like, oh, this feels not good at all. And like, but that was like in combination with recording all day prior to the stream. And so I think it's just, I didn't really take any breaks playing guitar either. And I was playing flute also that day. So like, it was just a lot of physical exertion.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? Like, you know, we have to start like stretching. Both of us talked about meditating, you know, because I feel like I don't even know until I started co-working with you, co-hanging out with you on Discord. I don't even know sometimes how extreme our schedules can be. You know what I mean? Unless there's like this mirror, because I'm constantly telling you like, oh, Merbs, are you tired today? Don't forget to rest. And you're like, oh, you better rest. And none of us are resting. We're like, oh, you know, I have this idea. And you're like, oh, that's great. That's great. And you tell me like, I want to do this. I'm like, oh, that's great. and suddenly we're just talking even in our hangouts, we're talking about work.
Yeah. But like, it's so fun. And I can't imagine doing anything else.
I know it, but we have to, because I'm streaming 6 days a week, and I constantly say on Twitch like, oh, I'd love to just do this full time. Like before stream, all I do is just kind of like rest and then just focus on streaming. And after stream, I don't go straight into work mode, right? If there was nothing in between stream, then I can do it full time. And a lot of times people will say, you're here 6 days a week at sometimes 5 to 6 hours a day.
Like
what is full time again?
Full time?
Yeah. And that's when you kind of have this reality check like, oh, do I have a life? Do you know what I mean? Like you start to like outside of music, right? Do I have things that I love doing that chat's always telling me like, are you resting? Are you eating, Heymun? Because I think the whole thing is longevity. Like everybody wants to see, you know, Merbs for many, many years to come, like all of my favorite streamers. But unless we have these deep talks one-on-one, we don't know how much we're putting on our plate and what is that too long? Yeah. And someone tells me like, I remember Phuong did a 6-day stream or something. And I
like
visited
in
her
a
stream. She's
row?
like, hey, yeah, in a row. And she's like, hey, man, how did you do that? And in my brain, I'm like, it's been months. I don't even know what day it is.
Oh, I never know what day it is.
Me too.
I stream Tuesdays, Thursdays, and like that's twice a week only compared to your 6 days a week. And every now and then on Thursday, I'll be like, hey, happy Tuesday. That is not at all correct.
Every Thursday. No, every Tuesday I'll say happy Thursday as well. For some reason, it's the 2 T's.
Yeah.
The minute it's Tuesday, happy Thursday. And someone's like, I'm a day behind you. And I'm on Tuesday. How are you on Tuesday? I was like, Thursday? But yeah, I feel like Twitch has given me so much more balance and perspective and friendship. I was on a more extreme schedule before this.
Streaming gives you more balance.
Yes, because I was on 7 days of composing work, beta testing for gear, and making YouTube videos, Instagram videos, making albums. And so I never really had even time to talk to anybody in the last couple of years. Like, especially with creatives or people who love my music, I just get it through a comment. But on Twitch, they're like, as soon as I'm just even doing this, right? They're like, oh, hey, man, you gotta drink some water. As soon as I'm like slouching a little bit and like if I'm just too tense, they're like, you just played the piano. Can you please stretch? And there's more awareness of like, she's human. But I think on YouTube, it was just like,
a lot of trolls on there.
Go for it, Mervs. Let's go to that section.
I feel like this is such a tangent. No, but really, like, yeah, we've talked about this a lot between us, just like sharing our Twitch experiences and like how, because we do music on stream, and because I do song requests, a lot of music streamers do song requests and they have song lists and such. A lot of people think they can just come into a music stream and just request a random song. And like, that's cool, that's fine. I just maybe don't know a song and I'll be like, we have a song list. And if you'd like to request a song, you could look through the song list and we could do that. Or like sometimes the queue is really long, so the requests are off for now, but you can request a song later. But some people come in and they just start spamming you with song titles. For the first one, I'll be like, sorry, I don't know who that artist is, but like take a look through the song list. But then some people just keep spamming it, or they just immediately they come in and it just makes you feel like you're not really a person who is here that you can interact with. Like it's kind of just like you're like a jukebox and you can play whatever. So yeah.
Wow. I personally do not have a song request playlist. Doesn't stop.
It's still the same.
Somebody, from coming in and putting out this title that I've never in my life. And for me, it's like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't play covers at all. And, you know, and I think it's okay if somebody was just inquiring, but I think I know what you're talking about, where it sometimes feel like, do this. And no one feels comfortable in life just being told without any, you know, like make it fluffy and nice, you know, like the statement like, hello, maybe a little bit of hi. Would you happen to know this song? And I'm like, I happen to don't know. You know? But when it's like, play this now. And it almost feels like a command
it's a
instead
demand.
of a request.
Yeah, exactly.
And I remember when I first started streaming, this was maybe my second stream. And I was just pulling out my piano. And someone commented like, oh, there's a piano there? Go ahead. Blow me away.
Oh my God.
And I was like, it would be logistically impossible. But let me set this up. And play you a song,
Yeah.
Like, it's like, what is the expectations here? It's day 2.
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of these people are, because Twitch tells you first time chatters. So,
Mm,
some people lurk and then they come out of lurk and they chat for the first time, but
yeah.
when it's a new person on your stream, and they don't necessarily know when you started streaming or how long you've been streaming.
Yeah.
So that happens.
Yeah. It does happen. And how do you feel like, 2 years into streaming, do you feel like you deal with trolls differently now?
Yes, but it also depends on my mood of the day sometimes, which is unfortunate. Because I would like, if I could just respond nicely to everybody, that would be great. Or just ignore things because you don't want to stir up any drama or, make things more uncomfortable for everybody else who's there to watch and who are, the nice audience.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I try to ignore things, but, there are days when your mood is just everything is going terribly and then somebody comes in and makes it worse and just adds on to that pile, and I sometimes will call people out or just make it, I don't know, I feel like it's uncomfortable for a second, but I also think that our core audience, like the people who come back to our streams every week, every time we stream, they have our backs too. Like they know when some troll has entered, and they also have our backs. They're also they know. So
I think I used to only know about Twitch streams, but I haven't personally done it. Today is officially 10 months. This date is 10 months that we're recording of me streaming, right? And before that, I've only kind of seen it from an audience point of view. And 10 months into doing it, every channel I go into, I have so much love, respect, affection, understanding, empathy towards like the streamer, and how important to me also if someone's just like, hey, could you mod for me? And I'm just like, yeah, I would love to. And if I see anything that's just not so kind, it's a chance to kind of like protect your streamer friend in a way that's also like not bringing super attention to the troll that makes everyone just go, oh, I was just cleaning and I was just cooking, and suddenly it just went boom, like the vibe just went differently. I'm realizing now that not everyone's eyes is on the chat sometimes. And like when you're streaming, I'm usually showering and preparing for the day. So if I hear anything, like if you're a little bit quiet, or if you even just go, oh wait, I'll just like rush out of the shower and be like, is she okay? Is chat like, but Deej is there, right? Like we have a few friends who's there. Like you said, you have really good mods. So I feel really comfortable when I see like your mods, like Korean Geekman. And if I see Phuong there, I'm just like, okay, I can shower, okay? I can get this soap out of my hair, like my eyes, and I can shower. But it's really heightened my awareness for when a streamer is streaming. I do want their chat to be, to not ever bring them down, because I don't know what the streamer was doing prior to streaming. You don't know how tired someone is.
right.
It's this thing where like I'd be working hours and hours before I stream, and you could get so many compliments, but sometimes in your worst, most tired state, if somebody just tapped your button and you just go like, oh, I just need to ignore that. Oh,
It's so hard.
it's the realities,
sometimes.
of
Yeah.
you will have to deal with everything that comes with streaming, and we're trying to do it with a lot of kindness, love, and patience,
Yeah.
but some days do be challenging. And that's when I kind of message you, be like, worms. And then we kind of like, just we'll just laugh, and
Yeah. Yeah.
we have that kind of, what is that word where you have somebody to understand, because you've been through so much in 2 years. So whatever I'm going through this 10 months,
Yeah, but
that
like
you've
I
been through
feel
it?
like I always say this, how you've been only doing it for 10 months, but I feel like the growth that you've had on your channel is insane. It's so fast. You've grown your channel so fast.
I feel like, again, from my point of view, it's like, how it's easy to see something in a bird's eye view. And then when you're in it, like
Mm-hmm.
all I do is like before stream, I'm working on stream, I'm making music, I really enjoy spending time with everyone. But essentially, I don't know how people see me.
Mm.
Do you know what unless they tell me on stream, like, hey, I love your music. And that's been my only way to see if am I doing okay? Like, is
Yeah.
everyone happy here?
I mean, because
Either than
numbers
that,
are just numbers. You can see like you have a fair amount of people in your streams now, but I guess with what you're saying, that doesn't actually matter so much, or is not as impactful as comments. It's people actually saying how much your music means to them and everything.
I think because I've done because before I started streaming, I've done like albums. I've done a handful of shows, not too much, and I've done the Instagram thing and the YouTube thing for 4 to 5 years. So with that, there were moments on my Instagram where like 20,000, 30,000 views, that kind of situation. And then there are some videos where it's like 1,000 views, and I started with 2 views,
Mm-hmm.
when I first started Instagram and YouTube, right? And I told myself, like, what's more important at the end of the day are the people that I remember, like the comments and the usernames that are constantly in my life. And that's a handful most of the time. You have, out of maybe like thousands of followers, you maybe have 100 really good friends who
Mm-hmm.
choose just like, oh, I really love your stuff and I buy your albums. And I realize like numbers can tell you, of maybe a general perspective of there is growth.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're too reliant on the numbers, it's our emotions are going to ride with that number as well. And that's probably the most dangerous part of evaluating yourself as a creative, because algorithms will shift
Mm-hmm.
and then you'll think you're not doing so good. But no, it's just that they're focusing on, different kind of promoting different kind of things now. And
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean it's like your photography is not that good. Doesn't mean that, so it's that core audience that I've learned that's my constant,
Mm-hmm.
like if they're having fun and, we're making memories. I'm like, I gotta simplify my brain or I'm gonna explode, Yeah, numbers
Yeah.
is something I try not to, even when I'm streaming, somebody might say like, oh, there's a lot of people here today. I just I my eyesight's so bad. I can't even see
Isn't
certain
like
things
the
like
chat on your screen, it's like
Mm.
2 lines at a time?
Yeah, I know. Like I remember putting it on my Insta stories without any awareness that how blown up my chat is until you're like, wow. Like, I stream in darkness.
Mm.
And the only lights I see are from my synthesizers and this one light. So
Oh my goodness.
everything has to be blown up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah.
numbers, hey.
Yeah, it's hard.
What about you? How do you feel? Like, how do you track your growth?
I
Oh gosh, Murph. I should know better to drink water.
I don't know.
Yes.
I
How do you? Yeah.
agree with a lot of what you said. Numbers, I mean, numbers are fun when you see them go up. It's not fun when you see them go down. But
Yeah.
I guess it fluctuates. That's just kind of how it is. Because as you said, like the algorithm and everything. And I have found myself in like the deep in this rut of being so focused on the numbers of subscribers that I have on Twitch, because that's mainly where where you generate revenue from on Twitch, right? And so
Mm.
I've been in a place before where I get so caught up in that, and I feel really bad about my own streams, and like I'm already burnt out. How do I keep, I feel like I have to keep streaming so that I can continue getting more subscriptions and such, but I'm already burnt out and I don't want to stream anymore at this point. So it is kind of a struggle, but also it is nice. It is kind of relieving to know that it fluctuates. It comes back, it goes up and down, and that's not a judge of your character and how well your stream is, kind of thing, like what you were saying.
I think when you said that, it kind of made me think also of, how a lot of times maybe certain brands or certain opportunities may look like it comes to people who maybe have a bigger platform or like bigger numbers and bigger ways to promote, but we can be the change in the industry, I realize as well, because when I go to people's streams, knowing that numbers fluctuate, like be more vocal of how much you love somebody's work and somebody's stream, right? Then we're the change in the industry that we need to see, rather than like, oh, numbers mean popular and good stuff, and not so much numbers mean not, like, and I feel like for the longest time it really peaked at a place where like that was the case. A lot of maybe bigger channels or brands seem to be getting a lot more opportunities. And so for me, I've always been kind of like a smaller, kind of like cozier platform, even on Instagram and YouTube. And I've always loved that, where I can give you the attention that you need. Like when, because once it gets really large, right? Like, because I watch a lot of streams that maybe they have like 20,000 of views, and then even my comment just floats to the top. I'm like, wait, I was like,
you can't even read your own comment.
Yeah. So, and I realized like I do love being able to, grow as I can handle. Do you know what I mean? I've never had a viral experience. Have you? Like, no. Where it's like, boom, suddenly it's like, I can't keep up with the chat. Like it just
exactly. Yeah. Well, being on front page a couple times, that's when that sort of thing might happen. It happened maybe once. It's crazy because I know we want to give attention to all of the people who are in the chat. You want to connect with everybody and say hello, and it's not just like a one-sided thing. It's like we're all in this together and we can chat, and it's a great community. But yeah, when it gets really busy, it's really hard to keep up with everybody.
But do you know one beautiful thing about Twitch that I realized lately? Because I'm watching a lot of my favorite, like, they're really big streamers. They average like a lot of chat traffic. It's so beautiful when I'm actually just chatting with chat also when we're watching the IRL stream, because sometimes they're not able to look at us and talk to us. They're walking down the street and we're just like, oh, have you all been to this place? And so it's like, oh yeah, this. And I'm like, only on Twitch can you have a super like high volume and still have this, I think, community spirit, as opposed to YouTube. Imagine there's like 1 million views, right? And most of the most liked comments is they agree. You know, like someone would be like, here before the first hour, agreed, right? But on Twitch, it handles high traffic really well. That's what I'm seeing. Like people find a way to still interact like with you or with chat, and that's beautiful, you know?
Yeah. So that's very different from, how's your YouTube experience different from your Twitch experience then?
Oh my gosh, YouTube. Oh my gosh, it is like night and day. And like, I've spent 4 to 5 years on YouTube making constant videos. I have hundreds of videos
Which are all beautiful, by the way.
Thank you for appreciating. When you watch and you tell me you love them, it's like when I listen to your podcast, when I get ready in the morning, I'm like, Merbs, I appreciate you so much. And when you watch my videos, I just feel like, don't you feel like I want to keep making them?
Exactly. It's very encouraging.
And that's why I said, like, we need to be more vocal about people that we love watching on streams, right? We got to be more vocal on the videos. Don't take for granted that they're self-sustainable just because it looks like they're doing okay. I noticed that, like, I need to be more vocal. That's why when I message you, I'm like, Merbs, I'm listening to your podcast right now, and I really appreciate this segment so much. Thank you for putting in the time and effort, right? And
It's so nice.
and with YouTube, the interactivity of it, I get it in forms of comments once in a while. And I may be checking the comments in the first hour, but people haven't woken up yet. Then I'm checking it 8 hours later. Then only some people woke up and I'm asleep. And we're not meeting each other at all in a present time. But on Twitch, it's like I've made so many friendships that I feel more comfortable to explore because, I get to talk to them pretty much 6 days a week. That I feel like I kind of know you, like we're what did you do yesterday? What did you eat? And so many people are like, hey man, I got a new job today. It's my birthday today. I'm visiting my nephew and niece today. I'm going to a spa, like DB Pieta, Safi, Stellion, Carmelini, Tasha, our, my sister friend, our sister friend, Phuong, like it enriches my life just knowing about somebody else than just being a solo Furby by myself. Everything's just out one way where you're creating and you're putting it out. And then, but with Twitch, it's like we're creating memories together. And I love it so much. I actually need, I'm like, are y'all not tired of seeing me 6 days a week? Like, are you sure? Should I just maybe like...
That's how I feel if I do an extra day. Like sometimes there will be raid events or a charity stream or something, and those are maybe on Fridays, and because my streams are Tuesday, Thursdays, and then Friday's the next day, and I'm like, because I usually ask what everybody was up to, how their week has been, but sometimes it's like less than 24 hours since I last saw them, and it's like, what have you done in the last not even 24 hours? Is anything new? I don't know if there's anything we can talk about, but they love just hanging out and being there, which is really nice.
Yeah, and to be honest, I was just thinking as well, right? Like with a not so fixed schedule, you get to participate in raids, like, and then you're not like super burned out, right? Because being part of raids and raid trains are so fun. And because a lot of times my schedule is so set that on Sundays I have to cook and clean. If not, I won't have any more underpants to wear. Like seriously, I already bought for the whole supply for the whole month, but I still like my clothes, I need to wash them. Like, it's like, how am I supposed to do all of the other adulting things, if I'm streaming 7 days a week, right? And here you and I, in our chats, right? I was like, hey, how about that second channel where you and I play Animal Crossing? Like, we're just like, that's my last day.
Knowing us, we will immediately turn that into like a passion project that we have to work on. We say it's just for fun, but that's impossible for us.
Merbs, you and I will be in a tournament by the first month. We're like, let's just try to join a caving tournament, and it just like spawns into another like time monster where it's just like, please. I know. We just keep adding things to the list. That's just us. And and we tell each other like, hey, you know, it's good to take a walk. It's good to go for a boba. And then we're like, I feel so guilty. I'm not working.
Right? Yeah.
Mm.
How do you deal with that guilt? Do you
I
deal with
message you
that?
now.
Okay.
I'm at this point where like, Marbs, are you feeling the guilt? And so, yeah, I know. We were having the same sleep pattern at one point.
Yeah.
Where we could not sleep. We finally met at the same time zone.
When that happens, you know something is wrong.
It's like Merbs. And usually we go through that alone before we met each other. I go through all of those things alone. Yeah. So I don't have anyone to talk to. So I'll just look at the ceiling and
I have people to talk to, but it's just that they don't necessarily relate on the same level as we do. So
Merps, in reality, our friends are already asleep. So we do have people to talk to.
So there's a benefit of us being in such different time zones where yeah.
I kind of knew that day, you know, the sunset day. Do you know how when we both cannot sleep, we'll just take the camera and go film something? And it really hit peak of like, Merps, you cannot sleep yet. Yeah, might as well. I mean, like, I was like, any sunrise, sunset left?
Legitimately did that. Like, for my Where's My Love cover lyric video that I made, that was because I couldn't sleep and I was up until sunrise. And so I just set a camera up and pointed it out my window and filmed the sunrise. And that became a lyric video, which is like, it's nice, I guess, in a way where you can kind of kill two birds with one stone. I don't know if that's really killing two birds with one stone. That's just getting rid of finishing one project and not sleeping, which is not actually beneficial.
I know.
Yeah.
I know this is not good for our to-do list because we both already have a big one, but our joint podcast should be how to rest. And then it's like bracket, no, seriously. Like, and here we are making another podcast.
See,
to rest.
We just come up with ideas of doing more things.
Yes, we
kind
do.
Of crazy. Are there things that you do where you have all these ideas, and are there ones that never come to fruition?
I tend to now not even put them on the to-do list at all. Like right now, my biggest focus is like streaming, and because I'm very new to it, right? And I'm so happily addicted to all the people that are on stream. Like, I need to see y'all every day, right? So anything that comes my way, I always weigh with like, okay, if you put that in, are you able to allocate the time to do it? So I'll look at the schedule. And so for me, it's like, I've allocated some time for Twitch now to acclimate to, I know I use this word a lot. I'm 10 months in, I'm still a newbie. I feel really new to it. And people are like, I don't think 10 months is new. But I feel like there's so much I still don't know. And same as my YouTube and my Instagram, when I first started, it's like I have to focus on really understanding this ecosystem and finding my balance. Because now I'm at the peak extreme where I'm just like, I know 6 days a week. A lot of people have told me like, do you sleep? I'm like, 10 p.m. Like I have to sleep. But I don't dare to add anything to the list because I'll get sad if I don't do it. Maybe the closest thing is our albums, Merps.
Our what? Sorry?
Our what? I don't even want to bring it up when we're together. I'm just like, because it will add to our like, ooh.
But I think that having brought that up before when we were chatting, it helped put into perspective how much work will actually, how much time will be needed for that, for me anyway. Because I'm like, oh, yep.
And I feel like it's, one of those things where once you acclimate to the ecosystem, then you can kind of find out the balance and then start to put other things in there. Because there's no real hurry for the album or another video. Like for me, I've got, a lot of videos on YouTube now and a couple of albums on online. And it's almost like the people who are meeting me on Twitch, they cannot consume that much so soon. They're still getting through the YouTube, and then they're seeing me 6 days a week. So it's almost like when I'm pressuring myself, like, get another video out, get another album out. I'm like, but you gotta also breathe in and kind of like creativity. Remember, I told you I saw this thing online where creativity is like exhaling. It's us putting out all of our like podcasts, YouTube videos, stream. But when are you going to exhale? Like if you inhale, you're going to keep no oxygen. Like you can't,
Yeah.
So we should tell our friends about our birth date, album date that we're like maybe next year,
Oh my gosh. Yeah, because you told me that you put out an album on your birthday one year, right?
Yeah.
And how you're like, no, please don't do that. It's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
You just spent all day working on promoting it.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll put, okay, if not my birthday, then how about your birthday? And then you can put yours out on my birthday.
Yeah, I know. We were like, we're going to do the whole, like, on my birthday, Mirabelle releases her album. And then on her birthday, I released my album, which is only like a month apart, so. And
this podcast episode will be out after your birthday. So I suppose if there's no album out from me, then, maybe next year.
Yeah, maybe.
Or just a different date.
A different date. Maybe it could be... We'll just find, I'm sure in our co-hangs we'll just be like, what's an important date in your life? How about our parents' birthday?
Oh my goodness. That's one way to choose a release date, I guess.
Yeah.
Do you have like a backlog of things, or did you ever try to have a backlog of content or music to put out, or have you always just kind of put them out as they come, as you make them?
Yes, because I have this really ridiculous 24-hour thing about life. I don't know if it's like so silly, but whenever I make something, I'll just put it out. Whether it's like 9 o'clock in the morning, 3 p.m. Like I'm not much for like saving something for later, because I've always been like, how would you know what life is going to be? Like, like how would I know 2 weeks from now, where would I be? And like I have this, I don't know if it's a little bit like, I don't know, weird to say, but I've always been like, whatever I have now, I'll put it out now, and I'm in the mood of it now. So I've never been somebody who like, oh, I'm going to do an album for a future. Like I've always just kind of like, if I make this song, it's going on YouTube first. And then if I want to remake something for an album, like I'll do it later. But a lot of things that I put on my YouTube are very current feelings. So it's very much of like a journal really of exactly that date. How was I feeling?
Are there things...
Which then...
Sorry.
Sorry, what did you say?
I was going to ask if there are songs or things that you don't put out and then you want to revisit, but then like the moment is past and maybe that just doesn't exist online because you didn't put it out and now the timing is gone.
Yeah, I think I never really revisit any sketch that I put on Ableton. Like if I have a sketch file, if it didn't come to fruition within that hour a day.
This is too true for me too.
Because I was thinking, Merbs, would you open that file? It's even so terrifying to even look at what that sketch is because it's just so messy looking in my head, like
all of those sketches are named like the same thing. It's just like guitar idea.
Guitar
or
guitar happy,
Yeah, or like
guitar.
have like a piano shimmer, piano flute, or like piano with like a lot of O's just so that it's different from piano with two
The other
O's.
one. I have like guitar, song 1. Then
Two,
when I
three.
save the file again, guitar, song 3.
Exactly.
Because I'm like, I don't want to overwrite this file, right?
Exactly.
And I purposely typo it out like piano.
Just so
that
it's
you
different.
So it's different.
Slightly.
And if you like it, you just go nice. Like, there's like a little indication where it's just like good.
This one.
Potential.
That's what I put.
This one. I use this one.
That's my final mixes too. Final mix 1, 2, 3, 4. This one. This one in all caps. This one with 5 E's at the end.
And the truth is, we all know this. When we do our final file as all caps, that one will never be it. There's a curse to actually going,
you jinx yourself there.
Final. Yeah, you jinx yourself because part of you is just like, I can't tell me that this is final in an aggressive caps lock way. Your mental brain is like, nah, this is not final. I need it to be final in a Zen way. Then it's like, you start to do the proper grammar, like final, capital F, final.
This is too true.
Underscore.
Yeah.
To master.
Yeah. Yep.
And then you start again. Oops. And then nobody wants to delete any of those old files because there could be magic in there. That
you
I
never
could
know.
re-listen.
You need backups, right?
This is why I say, like, one day you and I, if our studios right now were actually side by side, we could actually look at each other and be like, stop it.
This is true.
We're doing it again.
Yeah, having an outside perspective.
You're doing great. Like, we need that constantly. And you can rest. It's been 23 hours.
Yeah. No, but I think that's really beautiful though. Like that you just put things out when they're made and when you feel like it's right for it. And you don't have to, because when you said that, I kind of immediately thought of algorithms and how a lot of people plan and schedule their YouTube releases for a certain time, a certain day, because that's when most people are on YouTube and watching their channel. And I've always wondered, like, does it actually matter? Because I don't know how the algorithm works, and does it really, like, I've tried, like on Instagram it shows you, I don't know how specific or accurate it really is, but it has shown like peak times when your followers are online, and I've tried posting at that time, and I'm pretty sure I got less views and things than when I post randomly, so it's really weird.
Is it weird to say that, like, I actually didn't even look at my stats. I don't even know how on Twitch. A lot of people are like, can't you see which country's viewing you more? I'm like, where? Can you link me? They're like, it's your dashboard. Even on YouTube, they're like, oh, go look at your time to post. And I'm like, I have regulars who are so excited that they turn on notification and they tell me they're in Rome and they're like, I'll watch it after work, right? Because it's YouTube. And I follow so many really popular YouTube channels. I can't actually watch the videos as soon as they post it. I'm literally either at work, streaming, showering. Like, YouTube to me has never really made me feel like timing's an important thing. However, I think it's harder to be discovered on YouTube than anywhere else. I just feel it. Because I don't think hashtags do work on YouTube. I'm suspicion, like, because Instagram, it works. But once the algorithm comes to play, you're fighting a big current. It's going to be harder to surface. But YouTube, I'm like, can somebody who's really great at YouTube just tell me if there's a magic hour or a magic sauce, like, to find your friends? They exist, but it's hard to find them.
Yeah.
Where are they, Like, And it starts to make people think that they need to change their videos and change their way of creating to then acclimate to what success looks like. And that to me is always like, if
Don't
I
wanna
get
do
to that
that.
place, I need to rehabilitate myself. Like I need to, because I don't play covers. And it's very known on YouTube that it's more discoverable. I was told, I don't know if it's a fact, okay, but I see a lot of covers. And when I wanted to start on YouTube, a lot of people were telling me, do covers, like try to, expose yourself that way. But yeah, I think YouTube, it's a mystery. It's a mystery to me. And I would love to find, friends who love what I do currently without me. Because I don't even know how to do covers justice. People have asked me before, it's like, you don't do covers at all. I'm like, yeah, and I wonder, I'm not alone, right? In this, like, I'm sure there's a lot of people as well who, just covers are not something that they do or they have done. And I think that was the hard part with YouTube, where I'm like, how am I gonna find anybody? They're not gonna just suddenly Google synth Furby with modular synthesizer, like they're not gonna, they don't know what to look for. But I'm lucky that I found some. How do you feel about YouTube? How do you feel about that platform compared to Twitch? Same question.
I am putting in like the bare minimum amount of effort for YouTube right now. Like it's there and it exists, and I would love to just have my things on as many platforms as I can get it on, so that it's more likely for people to find my music. But I'm not actually actively trying to post consistently or make videos for it. I don't know. It's just a lot of effort that I don't think is worth my time right now. I have other priorities, I suppose. But back in the day when people were just starting, when YouTube just started out and people were just starting to post covers, when that was starting to blow up, before it blew up and it just started becoming popular, obviously following people who did blow up then, seeing all these videos, you're like, oh, I really want to do that too. And so, of course, I made all these YouTube videos of me trying to sing all these covers, all these songs, because, that's what everybody was doing. And I want to be seen by people. My goal isn't to be famous or viral, but I would love for people to see what I do. And so I did sort of try earlier on, but then like nothing happened with that. So I think priorities shifted and focus shifted to other things.
Yeah, I hear you. YouTube is a lot of effort. Like you're basically producing your own series ultimately, whether you are a podcaster, musician, chef, like it's the whole, and the level is really high on YouTube right now. I've actually seen videos where I'm like, is this kind of beat Netflix though? Like the level of these videos have reached, like, am I watching Netflix right now? Right?
Yeah.
You got documentary series, you got, and to be honest with you, like I feel like you and I also connect in how much we love YouTube, right? We do adore it. Like we do love watching our favorite YouTubers and, connecting with them on that platform. But I think when I went to Twitch, I was like wondering, is there a platform for everyone that just clicks? Do you know what I mean? Like, because when people watch my YouTube videos, they thought I was really serious because I don't talk. Right? And then now that I'm talking to them and singing 6 days a week, they're like, cannot imagine not hearing your voice and not hearing story time and you actually talking to me like a person rather than just watching a production.
What are your thoughts on then quality versus quantity when it comes to just putting our stuff out there, I guess?
I think it has to be a balance of both. I've realized because I could be putting out really good quality video, but if I'm only putting it out once a year or once every 2 months, like it's hard for people to see your vision because sometimes people don't log on to YouTube for 3 months and they're busy with life. And so it's almost like quality in a sustainable, consistent rate, I realized. And that's the hardest thing. Like, please, nobody ever asked me about a balance of life. I've none. like I have given, even my friends who have like their own lives and stuff, right? There are people who haven't seen me in like pre-pandemic, like maybe 5 years, but they see me on YouTube and they're like, that's how I know. Because you're so consistent, like every week, every other day, like I used to have Insta stories post every other day, now not so much. And on YouTube, like every week, there will be a video, there'll be a trailer to that video and leading up to that video and, behind the scenes of how I made that video. I was like, not even burning the candle at both ends. Like I was a candle in a pot and it was just like, I was just like, I worked through birthdays, New Year's Eve, New Year's countdown, New Year's Day. Like my time was completely consumed into making music albums and YouTube. And that's why when I tell a lot of people like I'm on Twitch now and I feel like I'm breathing, people are like, I feel like I haven't not seen you. Like I've seen you every day for I think a couple of months. And I'm very like from a frying pan into another pan kind of person. But these days though, like having your friendships, like Merbs, you changed a lot of how I rest. I hope you know that. Like us, just voice chatting, right? On the weekend mornings where I'm not, and I'm finally having time to just send you a picture of me drinking a chai latte. I'm like, Merbs, I realize I just love the quality time that I have with a friend. In between all this hustle and bustle, I'm finding my balance where you all will still love me, even if I'm not working 24/7, right? Like I'm not going to be less loved and less appreciated. I keep thinking like, you got to always work hard in life. You got to show people you appreciate them. But they don't want you to literally just keel over from overworking. Twitch is teaching me that. They're always telling me, Heymun, can you just remove a day or two? It's okay. Like, we're not going to forget about you or not love you anymore. I'm like, but I love you. So yeah, you're saying like, quality versus quantity. I realize if you're just putting out for the sake of putting out stuff in quantity, you're also sending a message that is quantity over quality. Do you know what I mean? Where if people go, did you even think about what you're putting out? Like, because it shows, especially on YouTube. I watch a YouTube video and I know why people want to hit that subscribe button. It's because look at the amount of work that you're getting in 15 minutes of a YouTube video that you're essentially watching for free, right? Now they're moving to shorts though, YouTube shorts. And I feel like my brain didn't really latch on to TikTok because I'm a long format person.
Same.
But you know how you and I always joke about places to eat, top 10. And then suddenly in that 30 seconds, you and I know exactly how many things to eat in that 30 seconds. And for people who are like pressed for time, they're like, okay, this is good for me. So it's a quality video edited really well in that 60 seconds. And you get everything you need. So that's kind of like quality and compact. And if that person's consistent, you want more from that person, But if it's just like, eat this donut, then the next day, eat this other donut. So it almost is a reverse effect. Does that make sense? That's just how I consume things. That's how I perceive things. But maybe some people,
are different.
Yeah.
I think that the thing about shorts and reels and the quality thing, I know because both of us really appreciate good quality work, clearly. And But nowadays, a lot of people don't even care for it. They just, when they consume the media, they just, the more raw it is, the better. But it's not just a random throw together a quick video just to make for the sake of having a video. It's actually, it has good information in it, or it's good content, but it's just made in a way where it's very raw. And I think that's what a lot of people are grasping onto.
Yeah. I noticed this shift of like real estate because I'm really interested in real estate. I don't know why my brain, like, if I see a video on Instagram and someone's just like, this apartment, this view, this cost this much compared to another city, my brain is just like, okay, how's the layout? And nowadays, they don't shoot it the way they used to shoot it. There was drones, there were all kinds of like fancy stuff. Now it's straight up, your iPhone goes into the apartment, you look left, you look right. But then the action that's happening, like what you're talking about, the art of making a simple video is one shot, one long shot, but the real estate agents are popping in and out of different rooms. So I'm like clever, entertaining, informative, giving you the right square footage, the price, and it's shifting. So I'm curious to see how YouTube is going to go, because for the longest time, YouTube is the only place for long, high quality content or just face-to-face vlogs, chatting, raw stuff. But it was long. Now it's like I'm seeing a lot of portrait show up on the feeds, and I'm feeling the change of the wave. And for me, as a person who loves long formats, at the moment, if I'm going to make another one, I'm still inclined to make a long video.
I realized the other day looking through YouTube videos that I was just scrolling down the homepage looking specifically for the landscape format long videos, and I was skipping over all of the shorts.
Okay.
Yeah.
And here's the thing also, I realized why I'm lucky to have a friend like you. It's these conversations that we have almost every day where I'm like, what's happening, Merms? What's happening to this platform? And you're like, I don't know. And we both are like, I guess another evolution is happening,
Yeah.
Like, what is that? Evolving is happening? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm curious about what you said about your self-worth and working so hard and having your self-worth tied into that. Like, where do you think that stems from?
And here's the tears, everyone. Cue the tears.
Oh, no. You don't have to answer a question.
No. It's important, right? We have these conversations anyway, right? And every time we're chatting, we're like, this is so important. This is so important. I think I realized only very much later in life that I've never really had a healthy self-esteem or confidence. And and for me, having a solid work ethic, has always felt good to me. No matter where I was working, I noticed I'd always work really, I do my best. And I feel like it's tied to, how I see myself. It's like, how am I using my time well? But there's a healthy level of that I notice in other people. Like, my partner is such a healthy version of that. He wakes up at 5 a.m. He has a good breakfast. He goes to work. He comes back. He goes to the gym. Then he has downtime, and then he has time with me, right? Like, there's discipline in such a good way where he's so sustainable. But then there's me, who, like, my whole life, it's like, I'll never do enough. Like, I'll never work enough. Like there's this like constant, like I'll never be good enough. Like there's this constant, like no matter how much I do, it's like I always feel like why am I not enough? You
Stop
know,
being
like
so hard on yourself, Heyman.
I just don't know. It's like, I've never had, this life where someone tells you like, oh, you're good, you're great. It's always like, you always have to prove yourself over and over again. Like it doesn't matter even how well I did the day before. I wake up and I'm like, I start from square one. And a lot of people are like, why? I've been told like you start from scratch from Instagram, you start from scratch from YouTube, and then you're willing to start from scratch on Twitch, and you're willing to start from scratch anywhere. I'm like, because that's just how I see myself. It's like, I'll always be hard on myself. I will never look at myself and be like, you did good today. Like, it's just the way I realize it's something I fight. That's why I'm broken down to tears on Twitch when people are like, she's so good, like at what she does. Like, thank you for being here for us every day. Thank you for bringing your best spirit. And I just cry so hard when I see that because I just don't hear that. I feel like on Twitch is the first time I'm very used to like no feedback or no good feedback or like whatever. I'm used to that kind of feedback. Whatever I do, it's just like, so what, right? So when I get onto Twitch and they're like, whoa, like she's so cool, or like she's so good at her instruments, and it's retuning my brain to be like, oh, you're okay, like you're not horrible and you're not shit, like there's so much reprogramming that I'm trying to do in my life lately, this last 10 months, that I realize, whoa, like I have reached the point in my life where like I need to find a balance. There needs to be a change. And that's why numbers don't bother me, because I'm already my worst enemy. Like there's nothing any troll can say that's worse than what I do to myself, So it's almost like I'm just grateful, even if there is a troll. I'm like, at least you came in. Do you know how quiet sometimes my life can be? You know that feeling? Oh my gosh. Sorry to the listeners. There's always tears.
No, I think well, I mean, first of all, crying is great because you're letting out all the emotions. What else are you gonna do with it? But man, I'm sorry that you feel that way, that you've felt that way, actually, because you are really amazing and you are so supportive and just you're so kind to other people that but I get it. I get it. I understand what you mean and how that feels. Maybe not as intensely, but I definitely have moments of that also. And yeah, just like on a day, I mean, because earlier we were talking about burnout, and like on days where I haven't done much, I feel like I'm a failure. And like, that's not true though. That's just that one day. And that's just maybe your body is telling you that you need to rest, and you need that rest. But it's really hard not to view yourself as a failure in that way, I guess.
You know what is crazy, Merps? Like, because like I feel like I have a second chance at healing with you, because we feel the same things, right? And we message each other. We're like, oh, I feel like a failure today. Like, why didn't I get this thing done? And when I tell you like, hey, Merbs, do you know how much you've done last week? You know how sometimes we have to remind each other, like, do you not remember, you're doing this and this and this, because we forget what we just did. And then we just think every day, like, okay, every day must be 100% day. But we've already used so much of that fuel by Saturday, and we refuse to even rest, because we're like, weekend means time to do more stuff. But I'm learning that how can we be the best for our Twitch family if we don't rest? How can we make those videos we truly want to make and the album that we truly want to make if we don't take a day off?
Yeah.
Like it even, like other people are now telling me 6 days is too much. I constantly get that all the time. They're like, look, we love having you around, but I'm worried that at a certain point, we won't see you at all. Because it takes me breaking down. It takes us actually feeling like, oh no, I'm under the weather, to actually say we need 1 day off. Is that really a good thing for our community? You know what I mean? Like, I realize us being healthy is their number one priority. Us resting and coming back fresh is better than every day. You know what I mean? And
it's a long game.
Yeah. And now I'm listening to them and like, okay, maybe we can do 4 days. And they're like, 4? I'm saying like, you can do 2. And I'm like, okay. Because I was like, 5? 2. The other person's like, the person I love watching streams once a week, and that's fine. Do you ever feel that? Like, do you ever feel like, oh, you know, I love y'all so much, and, you know, if I need to rest, but we're constantly fighting this feeling in our hearts. We're like, what's the right thing to do?
Yeah, which is the reason why I keep saying I would love to add another day to my stream, and I haven't done that. I always think that because, you know, you want to reach more people, or like some people come by every once in a while and they say they can't come by every time because of the timing, the schedule that you have. And, you know, like we've worked out what works. Like we've been consistent with our schedule enough that it works. But, you know, some people can't make it. And so I feel like, oh, I should try another day and maybe reach different people. But then I just don't end up doing that. I maybe do it once a month or something, and then
when you were talking about that topic, I also realized that when it comes to scheduling, like I'm the person that's like, there's no fixed schedule. It's quite fixed.
You're right.
You know? And then the minute I get onto Twitch, I realize like this is the most like go with the flow platform I've ever been on. YouTube would serve you so well if you have a schedule and a consistency. If you can be somebody who's like videos every Monday and Wednesday or every Friday at this time, it would allow people to truly anticipate the next video. That's how you build, I think, consistency. But for Twitch, I realized like people's days change because it's a present thing. They can only watch you and be in, because it's an interactive thing. They don't want to just not interact and talk to you. They want to actually have a beverage and a food and then just watch you. So I realized that like we cannot be too hard on ourselves with this one because other people's schedules will kind of just, and then catch you next week. I'm learning to be like, that's the flow of Twitch, and maybe some days I'll stream earlier, some days I'll stream later, and catch you on a different time. Like I just shifted 3 p.m. start to 1:30 p.m. You know, and I'm open to keep finding that balance. You know what I mean? And not kind of set anything too soon yet, because still learning, you know. I think what about you? Like, are you happy with your schedule so far?
I am. Well, a big part of my schedule staying this way that it is just it's because of my raid tradition with Marie. It became a thing, and now call it a trade-ition, where you spell it with raid in the tradition. But yeah, I haven't thought about switching up my schedule recently, just because that's become a constant thing now. And Marie, by the way, is spelled MRE, and she was on the 2nd episode of this podcast, by the way.
I love that episode.
Yeah, she's great. So I don't really shift my schedule on those days, but I have tried adding a day or something, because a lot of people's schedules are, if they do twice a week, it's Tuesdays, Thursdays, or 3 times Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, and then, or it's Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. And so there are times where you want to raid a friend and you can never raid a friend because you're never on at the same time. But I've done that before, where I would try, say, a Friday stream, just so I could raid this person that I really wanted to raid. But just nothing has really stuck for some reason.
I want to raid you.
I know, I want to raid you too. You raided me once. That was nice.
That's how we met, by the way. The first and only, our time zones did not match anymore. You were on a raid train, charity raid train that day. And I met you after that. And then I was like, if I have to raid you, I have to start streaming at 6 in the morning.
Yeah, that's not really possible.
My voice will be like, good morning. I have no voice. But yeah, we covered a lot of, you know, like important topics today, I hope.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about like the other work that you do, because we talked a lot about Twitch streaming and your YouTube videos, but what else is on your plate?
So before Twitch, I do a lot of like stuff with brands. I was really lucky to have, you know, some eyes on my Instagram and YouTube videos. Some brands just really loved what I do, despite it not being like millions of views or hundreds of thousands. They're like, your cinematography, your songwriting, your producing, like, we want that, you know, we want our gears to be taken on that kind of adventure. And that was what I was doing. And also composing for companies like Plastic Cell. They do sculptures, and they usually want to do, so they release a series like the Witcher series, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Nickelodeon collaboration series. And I also do work for like, for them, where they're like, hey, I'm doing a Witcher series. Can you do an original soundtrack for it? I'm like, sure. So I've done that for their Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Witcher series. And then also companies like Spitfire Audio, also like Arturia, Teenage Engineering, Genki Instruments. So, and sorry, who else? Looking at my shelf because it's all behind. Hold on.
You can see this synth shelf on twitch.tv/HeymunMusic.
Yeah, my synth shelf. And so I do beta testing as well. Like, obviously I can't talk about those things in detail, but because you're not supposed to. But I do, like, they'll send me a gear, and then I will go through with the people that are in that. Now it's sounding like one of those, I cannot dox anybody on my story times, where that person of that company, they have a department, and I will be doing the stuff and will give feedback. So
that's super cool.
And then you've been saying you want to get into this side of things, right? When I first you'd love to.
How did you even get started in all that?
They found me through, as what we were talking about before, quality, consistency. And I remember,
and you literally just said that they liked your cinematography. My mind just blanked.
I mean, I realized I built a lot of my work ethic and discipline during that 4 to 5 years, where it took me back then 1 month to film one video. And it got to a point where it's like 1 day to make everything, like from morning to evening. Then by the second day, I just eye it over. That some brands are like, you're very fast. And I'm like, I've just been doing this for 4 to 5 years. Like, I'm dedicating all of my time to just this. Like, there's no other thing to do than this. So that's why I can. But even that, I feel like some days I want to vomit. Like, I literally feel like I want to throw up from staring at the screen too much.
Oh
And
no.
again, everyone, I'm not the person of balance. Please do not. I have people in my life telling me, like, Heyman, you have to go out. Like, you have to walk. Like, like, this is on another level of, I need my work ethics to be on point. Like, but this is on another level though. Like you need to rest. And that's why when I tell people, like, Twitch has literally saved me from a very hectic routine, I also realize I don't want to fall into another pattern of, am I also so burnt out because I'm still doing beta testing, right? I'm still composing for work. I've just added more, basically.
Yeah, but it's technically work, but it again is something that you really enjoy doing, and so
enjoy.
I think in a way I can understand how it is a little bit more freeing, I suppose.
Yeah, I enjoy Twitch so much that I feel like if I could go 7 days a week, if I didn't need to like sleep, shower, rest, sleep, I feel like I could live on Twitch. Like, it's just so crazy how much
people do that on Twitch, right?
I know. Like me talking to you about our second channel, we're like, let's play games, let's play Animal Crossing, because I just want to see, you know, Safi and Phuong and, you know, Storm and so many friends as often as I can. Like, you all are my happiness.
Aww.
However, it's still like you're exerting a lot of energy though. Like,
yeah.
So at some point you and I need to really lay down and and sleep and rest.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What is your composition process or songwriting process? Are they similar or maybe different?
You mean for the jobs or Twitch and YouTube? Are they different? Like different brain cap? Like
yeah, are they? Hat? Well, I already went on a tangent in my own head. I was gonna ask just about like the work that you do composing for all of these companies, but then I did realize like you do all these different things, you create in so many different ways. Are they different?
Yeah, for sure. Because like certain companies, they have a brief where they're like, okay, we're releasing this, right? We're releasing this. And they don't tell me how to create. They just tell me 60 seconds, 30 seconds, 4 minutes, 3 minutes. They just tell me the format of the video, but they're like, take it away. Like, you want to make something dark, scary, horror, fun, chill, go for it, you know? It's because they've watched my videos and they're like, I already know your range.
There's a level of trust there.
There's a trust that they're like, and usually they'll have a specific video that made them talk to me on my YouTube, or a certain vibe that they're like, I love what you do on YouTube. Like, and I know you deep dive into synthesizers, so here's one, right? And then some will kind of use more of my very film scoring side, where a lot of things are more cinematic. You have like an orchestral kind of swarm, and you know, sometimes they're releasing certain products specifically for composing, and then I'll show them how I do it as a musician as well. You know, so other people who are musicians don't just think this is the only way to use something. If I'm scoring a Harry Potter style film, then only I can have this synth or this library. So I think brands that I've worked with years, so they understand like she's always going to show a different perspective of the gear. Rather, if not, they'll just do the walkthrough. They wouldn't need me. You know what I mean? Like, I think they come to me because I use my stuff in a specific way and I have a sound that I kind of build around it. So they'll always go here. So I'll use that brain where, okay, this is for the brand, right? So what do you want to see as somebody who's potentially going to buy this? So my brain turns into like, would I buy this? So I have to go through the library and be like, this is why I want to buy this. And then shots of the interface as well, like what's important to film, not just how pretty it looks. Like that means nothing, like you want to be able to see the dynamics and the reverb. You want to actually get an up close touch. So I think it's a very different brain than like what I bring to my own YouTube videos. My own YouTube videos is very 100% like I'm going with today's flow. If I'm sad, I guess I'm crying, But it's very polished. Like when you do stuff for brands, like it's raw, but because it's you. But there's also a level of understanding how to tell a story that I like doing with my videos. So I get to exercise that side, which I love, but it's so time consuming. There are times it takes me 2 full weeks and reshoots just to get it the way that I feel like that's the story.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some things can take you like 20 minutes to write, and some things can take you 2 weeks. It changes so much.
When you said that 20 minutes, there is like, for me, when I'm doing brand work, there is a very structured time where I'm already like 7 a.m. I better have showered, eaten, do whatever, because I work with companies in America and the UK. So by the time I'm done, they'll wake up, then they can see it. So during the time that they're asleep is where I'm working, and so they get to, if we're in the same time zone, I don't get feedback of the work. And I need the timeline to be concise, right? Because you're taking chunks out of your week to do this job and get paid. So I always want to make sure like we're both not wasting each other's time as well. And the minute they tell me like this video is 60 seconds, my Ableton is already like, I've already like marked all the times where like this is where action happens. Same as scoring a trailer or a scene, you always have to mark where things are happening. Why is it happening? Then the next day I'm filming the whole video of like how my hands are moving, because I already know the composition. So I'm more like, so there's a structure where composing day 1 day, filming day 2nd day, 3rd day, feedback day, 4th day, polish day, so there's a very like, I cannot go past that day. So my brain has to be like, you better work on this day and you better be sharp. So I sleep at 10 p.m. no matter what, because I might get an email and someone's just like, this time, deadline, let's go. And I'm like, that's it. I have to be fresh. Like I cannot be like, oh, but I was like, but can we start on Wednesday? Like, I'm like, okay, we start tomorrow,
Yeah. How do you get yourself into the zone of composing? Because sometimes, like, I guess there's a certain level of discipline. Like, if I'm trying to practice flute or something, like, I really don't want to sometimes, but sometimes you just have to get started and then you're in it and you're good to go. But, like, is there anything that you do to get you into that? Or do you just kind of, because of the pressure of the deadlines, and you just have to?
I actually spent a lot of time building this kind of discipline because I kind of knew that like, if you want to be a composer, you got to be switched on when you have to be switched on. If this is a hobby, right? Like if it's just like whenever I feel like it, then it's a different glove that I'm handling myself. And I'm naturally quite hard on myself. I realized like, even when I was doing the YouTube thing, it was for fun. Like I was just exploring. But I'm like, well, what are you learning in this process of building your channel? You should learn discipline. You should learn consistency. You should switch your brain on in the morning as well. You cannot just rely on working at night. Like I used to be such a night owl. I'm up at 4 a.m, but I'm like, it's not sustainable for me to have a healthy life where I'm only like, I'm not feeling rested. I need to feel rested. So when I decided in 2018 that music's the thing I want to make a living doing, I had to change my whole life. Like how I eat, how I sleep, how I had to learn to yoga, exercise. Like I have to eat good. So many things I realized, like if I eat a bad lunch, right? Like something greasy, I'm going to feel so tired. Like I'm not going to be able to work. So when I made that decision in 2018, like you're going to do music now. Everything has to change to make that sustainable. So I started sleeping at 10 because I thought maybe a few years from now, you're going to finally get all the opportunities that you've been preparing for. You need to switch everything on. So when the brands finally came, I was switched on. They were like, you're switched on. I'm like, I've been waiting for you for 4 years. You know, like, so now that you're giving me a shot, it's like everything I've done for 4 years is preparing me for now.
I just had a conversation with my friend recently about a similar thing where, because my friend has like a full-time stable income job and is very consistent, like basically studied at school and then graduated and went straight into working and like in the same field and everything too. And lately she's realized that it's been just that her whole life so far. It's just work, and it's just for money. And she's realizing that she doesn't want that to be her life. And I was saying that just because that's kind of how it works though in her field of study. And meanwhile, in our creative field, I was thinking like, yeah, but you have money now so that you can go do whatever else you want. And like your hobbies and work are so separate. Now you have the money to go do your hobbies. Meanwhile, I'm here like, I don't know, like I am working, but it's also my hobby. And instead of like making a lot of income right now, I feel like instead I'm learning a lot of different skills and I'm trying to, it's like I'm preparing myself for future opportunities. And so, yeah, what you said just reminded me of that.
Yeah.
It's very different.
And because we have friends, right, who have like really set day jobs, and after their day jobs, they are too tired to explore their hobbies as well. And they're like, I just want to mellow and be a couch potato. And I understand that. But because you and I also, after our creativity time, we still want more creativity time in the form of fun. Like it just never ends, right? But yeah, it was something that I realized was going to be an obstacle for me if I didn't have discipline, because the lines of hobby and work get blurred so quickly. You can have fun, and then you're like, but where's the song at the end of all the time spent, right? So there's also this part of my brain where like know when to stop over tweaking to the point that it's gone you down to the bones of the song now. Like the soul is gone, you know? So there's so much that actually I always feel like when people ask me how do I get into music, and I was like, do you want to do it as a hobby or full-time? They're like, full-time, make a living. I'm like, you got to get everything else in order. Your mental health, number one, needs to be very strong. It's a very unstable landscape. It changes all the time. Algorithms favors different things all the time. Are you strong enough to not be on that wave and still wait for your moment 4 years later, you know? And secondly, like how you take care of your body, like resting enough, eating enough, sleeping enough, will all add to how you switch your brain on at a time where it usually doesn't want to play. Like the brain in the morning is just like, nah, like let me talk to you at 4 p.m, you know, like let's ease into this. But I feel like the business of music, it's on all the time. So you just have to, you know, find a balance that's good. For me, I basically feel like, you know, we need to learn how to switch off. It's the opposite.
It's true.
You know, like we need to learn how to switch off.
Yeah. Discipline is very important, and limits, as we have discussed before too.
I feel like I need, like, for example, if somebody's just like, my friends lean on me when they're like, how do I organize this day? And I'm just like, here, I'll tell them. And I lean on them when they're like, how do I rest? And they're like, do this. So it's, I think creatives will always be switched on. It's just inevitable that if you're not doing something, you want to be doing something. And if you're doing something, you still want to be doing more things.
Yeah.
But I found you, and, I feel like us kind of talking to each other about how tired we are or how much we need to rest is resting. It's just, yes.
It's so
nice.
Weird how that works, but it works.
It works.
Yeah. Should we get into some Patreon questions and then
Sure.
And wrap up the podcast episode? Thomas asked, how long does it take to learn synthesizers, and how do people even get started with it?
Oh, that's a great question. Unbox it, read the manual of anything that you shouldn't do. It's usually on like the front page, like a disclaimer. Plug it in. I truly believe in like that intuitive connection with a gear. If you can close your eyes, okay, of course, if you don't know where the buttons are, don't. But if you know where the keyboard is, right, just close your eyes and feel around and just see how intuitive this synthesizer is. Maybe it's also the beta tester in me that's talking right now. But every time I get something, I don't want to know too much about it, except how not to blow it up. And then I'll have to look at like, how do you connect this? Does it make sense that the output is here? Does it make sense that, the buttons are here? Like, so I'm very passionate about people just playing a lot. Play is a very huge factor in synthesizers. There's actually no learning curve, except you got to spend a lot of time playing, and then you'll find the motions that you love to do and the way you love to shape the sound of a synth, and you're good to go. I could say, like, depends on how connected you are with the synth. I think in a day, you can already start making music. I'm very hopeful and positive when it comes to synths, like a day.
Phuong asked, what is one thing you haven't tried yet, but you really want to do?
Like in life?
Yeah.
So many things. Oh my gosh.
Meet me?
Yes.
Hang out with me in real
That
life?
is for sure. That is for sure. That is for sure. I would love to meet Mirabelle in Canada for sure. I would love to meet Phuong in, actually, to be honest, like I've always said that I'd love to meet you and Phuong, and we have a picnic in Paris.
Aww.
We always, because you know how the whole charcuterie board, it's like a friendship picnic. Sorry, I took Phuong's question.
I thought you said friendship picnic.
French. Yes, but if we're in France, it'll be a French ship, all three of us.
Exactly.
I took Phuong's question so deeply, as in like, what do you want to do in your life? Like Elon Musk style, where he's like now going to Mars. But I was like, but as deep as that is, yes, Mirabelle will still be on the top tier of like what I need to see and do. I'd love to meet you and Phuong. If we put it out here in the podcast that maybe, because you know how TwitchCon Europe is in France next year? And if there's any way that maybe, I was like, okay, that's wishful thinking, I know. But in an alternate universe, that would be lovely. We can have our charcuterie picnic. Yeah, I'll have to do that, Phuong. See you and Mirabelle there, hopefully 2023.
Daniel asked, how are you so excited and positive?
I think now that I feel like maybe there's like a big gaping hole in my heart and I'm filling it in with positivity. And I'm like, your friends, take it. I've been feeling it's that, you know what I mean? Because everyone I meet on Twitch, right, has a hurt who never hurts other people. Like they're just like positivity. And only from a place where you've experienced really true like hurt and trauma that you can appreciate, like being positive all the time is really important, because maybe you haven't been around people who are very positive all the time and you wish for that. So I've always been kind of like, be the person that I want to meet and be the person that I want to see, And I don't think it comes natural to a lot of people being positive, but I think as a kid, I was always really excited and positive, and then realizing that not everything is like that. But let's just amplify positivity, you know?
Mm-hmm. You saying that being a kid and doing all that reminded me of your Uncle Bus story. Like little 5-year-old Heymun just hopping onto a bus stranger and taking the bus home.
I used to hear that story from my mom when she tells people, and I used to think, oh, was I just doing something wrong? You know, but now as an adult, I look back, I'm like, oh my gosh, little Heyman, like on days that I feel so weak and I feel like I'm beating myself up, it's like, I look up to you, girl, for like no one's coming.
Strong,
save
independent
yourself.
woman.
You're like, if you want something done, do it yourself. If you want to go home, just go home. Okay, but in all honesty, like, you know, if I like saw any kid that was 5 years old who would just go into a bus, I'll be like, oh, just wait a second. Like,
yeah.
But, you know, it happened and I'm glad I'm safe.
Yeah. If people listening don't know what the story is, well, you can go to twitch.tv/Heymun Music and request this, redeem this story time. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming onto the podcast.
Oh, I'm so
I just
happy.
want to keep talking to you.
I know.
But you got to go do your stream. You got to go do things.
Yeah. Merps, we need to shout out Mo and Mint. Oh, for anybody who's watching the YouTube version of this, we finally have Mint in the our world. Look,
Mo and Mint, if you're listening to this and not watching this at all, they're little one-up mushrooms from Nintendo, you know?
Yes.
You know those mushrooms? And Mo is Heyman's little mushroom who is red, and then Mint is green.
Yes.
Together they're moment.
They're a moment. They are a moment.
In this podcast, we have had a moment.
We have
with
had
Heymun
a moment.
Music.
And yes, we have already talked about a joint podcast that's called A Moment with.
I would love that.
I would love that too. Seriously.
There's so much that we didn't even talk about today.
I know.
Like, I'd love to have chatted with you about or gone into deeper like rabbit holes with you about. But yeah. Next time.
Next
we can
time.
Have you back. We could do something else.
Yes, I would love that. Thank you, everybody. Oops.
Where can people find you on the internet?
Oh, I was like, where can people find you on the internet? Thank you. I was like doing Mo's voice. You can find me on Twitch at Heymun Music. And I'm also on YouTube as Heymun. And also on Instagram, Heymun Music. Come and find me on Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. Come watch my ambient music films. And on Twitch, come and hang out at the Ambient Shelter. Please, AEST. I'll be there around 1:30 p.m.
It's a good time over there. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Mervs. Oh my gosh, I love them. I love them so much.
I